celebrating 15 years of possibility. Pilot Flying J and Halloran Hilton Hill present Anything is Possible. Today's guest, Bishop Kevin Perry.
Welcome to another edition of Anything is Possible. I'm Halloran Hilton Hill with great stories about great people, friends of mine, that are proof positive that anything is possible. And that is true in your life. No matter what's going on in your life right now, tomorrow could be a whole new possibility. This is Bishop Kevin Perry, a friend of mine,
Yes,
and
sir.
I'm so glad to have you here today.
I am honored to be here.
When I met you, the second time I met you, we were in a play
Yes.
together.
Yes.
We were acting. We
A
were
Mother's
on
Cry.
stage.
Yes.
The play was A Mother's Cry. And you have and had this larger than life personality.
Wow.
But I want to tell you what I remember. So we're at rehearsal. I think we were putting on the play. I don't know if we were at the Tennessee Theater or we were at some theater.
Yeah.
Right. And we were having rehearsals. The rehearsals were intense. And toward the end of the rehearsal, I remember you saying, I gotta go to work. Now, if I remember correctly, I think you were working the night shift at the Knoxville News Sentinel.
Yeah.
But that was your other job.
Yeah.
So you had come from one job,
Yes.
came to rehearsal, and then you were going to your next job. And I remember looking at you and going, this guy's got a hustle in him that won't stop.
Yeah.
Do I remember correctly?
You remember correctly.
What was going on?
Just trying to make it, trying to make ends meet, trying to change the culture and the climate for my family.
Where do you come from?
I come from Walter P. Taylor Homes. I was born and raised in Walter P. Taylor Homes. My mother was a single mother of 6, and I'm the youngest. I'm the baby, they call me. And she was a hard worker. There were times that my mom would walk to work from Walter P. to Standard Knitting Mill. Cold rain, you know, the weather wasn't a deterrent or a hindrance. And she taught me a work ethic. Not only that, she taught me a component on how to be loving and a giver. And so that is my makeup, that's my foundation.
And every time I saw you, you were a great guy, great personality, but it was like, I gotta get somewhere. I gotta be something. What was on your mind? I know you wanted to change the culture and conditions of your family, but what did you see as your possibility at that point?
At that point, all I wanted to do was just make it. And I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't have a clue. I was a grown man, but I didn't have a vision or a dream of what I wanted to be when I grew up. So
Did you have a family at that time?
Yes, I had a family. I was married, and I think we just had my son at the time. But yeah. Matter of fact, my daughter was around 1 or 2 years old.
Right.
But just wanted to work hard to.
What did you do at the News Sentinel?
I worked in the press room. Initially, I started out as a janitor. Started out cleaning up the building, you know, doing whatever they needed done, just trying to get a paycheck.
What was your other job?
Other job, I was cleaning up during the day, little side hustle on the side. So, you know, it was just whatever I could put my hands on. Also, I had a little detail business that I was doing at the house. So I would get off work at night, in the morning sometimes, detail cars during the day, go clean up at the building after I got done with that, and sleep in between.
Always believing for something better.
Always.
Where was your dad?
Absent. At that point, he was dead. He expired, he died, he passed away a month after I graduated high school in 1986. And so, but he wasn't really present in my life. And so I like to tell people that even though he wasn't present, my dad raised me. He taught me what not to do and taught me things that stuck with me, which made me become the father that I am today.
What did he teach you not to do?
Well, he taught me, first of all, he had, you know, families in a couple of different places, but he taught me how to be consistent, how to be driven. He taught me how to stick with one wife and one family and to persevere through all the odds and obstacles that come my way. And so those are some of the things that he taught me how to do.
Did you ever have a moment of reconciliation with him? Did you ever run into him if you did run into him, what was that experience? We'll find out about that coming up next on Anything is Possible.
Possibility powered by Pilot Flying J, Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel. Coming up.
I almost overdosed. On crack cocaine. I was out of control, and I could feel myself slipping away.
So we were talking about your dad, and you
Yes.
said his inconsistency taught you consistency. His lack of being driven taught you to be driven.
Yes.
He kind of taught you what to be by what he was not.
Absolutely.
Did you ever run into him, though?
Yeah. I mean, I saw him, out of all of my siblings, he and I probably had the closest relationship. And so, I saw him from time to time. He would ride past our apartment to go up to his girlfriend's apartment. But, there were times that we had a chance to sit and talk. He passed away when I was 18 years old. We didn't really have that matured bond that he could speak into my life or I could ask him certain questions. But yeah, I got a chance to see him on occasion.
What did you take from his personality?
Extreme extrovert. They tell me I act just like him, silly, jovial. I love people, passionate about people. So that's some of the things that they say I act just like him.
How old were you when you got married?
I turned 21 on the 7th of October, and we got married on the 29th of October.
Who knows what they're doing
No.
at 21,
I know,
right?
I know.
But you married a wonderful woman and you started a
Absolutely.
family. Why
Absolutely.
did you want to get married so early, and why did you want to start a family?
I had done everything. I was early in the streets, the club life, all of that, and I found this woman that I considered to be someone that I could spend the rest of my life with. And so, nobody took me by the hand and said, hey, man, you need to marry her. It was just something that was in me. I said, that's going to be my wife. I was working at Standard Knitting Mills, and I remember seeing her, and I told her brother, I said, I'm going to marry your sister. He said, well, why you want to marry my sister? I said, man, I love her. And so here we are. We're coming up on 31 years together, 29 years married in October. And, we are enjoying life. We are enjoying life.
She's special, and she's special too, and for you. Where was God in all of your early years?
He's always there. He was there in my failures. He was there in my mistakes. He was there in my successes. There was a time, of course, that I didn't have the relationship that I have with him now, but I didn't know that he was covering me. I didn't know that the Bible says that, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. But for me, not only was he ordering my steps, he was ordering some of my stops. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm just grateful when I look back over my life, things that took somebody else out, I made it through it. And it was by the grace of God. So I can look back and see like the footprints in the sand. He was there all along.
So from working at the Sentinel and all of your various multiple side hustles, you start to emerge as a man. What happened after the Sentinel?
Well, while I was at the Sentinel, I went through a transformation process. 1996 was a critical year for me. I had, slipped back into the world doing some things that weren't pleasing to God, myself, nor my family. But I came face to face in the midst of a crisis. And I had to make a split-second decision that was going to save my life or it was going to ruin my life. And I did that. And I almost overdosed. On crack cocaine. I was out of control. And the night that it happened, it was just a crazy time. And I could feel myself slipping away. I could almost feel the death angel, like breathing down my back. And but through the grace of God, I was able to recover. And it wasn't a purposeful overdose. I was just out of control. The very one that I had hurt the most, my wife, when I come home, because we're separated at this time, she's sitting there on the couch in the living room with a Bible open, tears streaming down her face. She looks at me, she says, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is, it's going to kill you. And I got frustrated, was getting ready to walk out the door, and she said, you better not leave this house. That night, I laid in the floor and I cried out to God. And I asked him to help me, to deliver me, and to bring me through. And so that began the process of me walking in now 21 years clean.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you know, through everything that I've watched from a distance you go through, and maybe this was present in your heart from a little boy, I've always seen the light of God in you.
Wow.
I mean, like there's never been a time when I didn't see that thing.
Right.
So what happened after that?
I was the master of the Masonic Lodge, and the lodge had become my God. I was sold out to it. And but the Lord started dealing with me about it, and I walked away from it into my second term as the master. And as God was dealing with me, I had just come off of a scandal, and the whole year of '97, God was dealing with me about ministry. And I couldn't figure out how this was going to be possible. How was he going to use me? The things that I had done, the pain that I had caused people, the mess that I had made of my life. And as he's dealing with me, people would begin to minister to me and say, you're going to give other people hope. That if God could do it for you, then he can certainly do it for other people. And I finally submitted to God in January of '98. I acknowledged the call of ministry on my life. And then it was like everything was fast-tracked from that point. I preached my initial sermon in September of '98. June of '99, I was ordained as a minister. The next year, 2000, they hired me off of my job at the News Center to be, the first assistant on staff with my pastor. 6 months later, I'm the pastor. And so God just had a plan. And I struggled with it for a while. But when I submitted, things began to open up for me. Yeah.
So talk about how your church started to grow.
It took years for my church to grow because of the way, the ministry that I accepted. We went from probably well over 1,000 people at its peak to when I received it 2 weeks after my mom passed away, barely 20 people in an 80 to 100,000 square foot facility. And so, I didn't have the experience. I didn't have anyone to walk with me, but I went in my prayer closet every day at noon, and the Lord told me to go back. So we went back to Speedway Circle. We started over.
I remember
And
that.
it wasn't, I was like, it's not about us, y'all. But it took us years to recover financially. We had to change the name of the church, and slowly but surely began to win people's confidence. People would see us out in the community because our ministry is outreach and evangelism. And so people would begin to, become confident in leadership in our ministry again. And so slowly but surely it's growing. We're in the process of purchasing another building, and we're excited. Ours it wasn't a rapid growth. It's been a steady growth. But we're excited about what God is doing. And through it all, he developed character and integrity. The things that's essential for your survival in ministry, that when you get to the place where God would have you to be, you get to stay there.
Do you think all the things that you've been through has given you a special sensitivity to people in need? Because I would imagine, how many people can put one over on you?
Right.
You've been there and done that.
Right.
You know it when you see it. You know the frequency of all these different types of pain.
Absolutely. Yeah, it absolutely does. It gives me a great sensitivity that I can look at a person. And one of the things I love, I'm not the pastor that loves administration.
Right.
I'm the pastor that loves people. So as crazy as it may seem, I love to walk with people through crisis. I love walking hand in hand, when they're going through and their struggle and their issues, and I can get in and, put my back to their back and fight their enemies. But that's what it has given me, a sense of, just being able to look in the life of a person and say, God's got you, man. If you just tough it out, hang it out. One of the things I like to tell people is your tomorrow will be better than your today, because your today is much better than your yesterday. Mm. And so, it gave me great sensitivity, and I'm grateful.
I know you are. Let's get a break. When we come back, So now you work in the office of the mayor.
Yes.
This is like the most insane thing ever, right?
Right.
So we'll get to that in just a moment. This is Bishop Kevin Perry. You're watching Anything is Possible.
Coming up,
I wasn't supposed to make it. I wasn't supposed to still be here. My lungs collapsed. I had so many health challenges.
Welcome back to Anything is Possible. This is Bishop Kevin Perry. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I have to say, and I've called you and told you this, but along the line, as I've seen the good things happen for you, I've just been thrilled. Because like I said, I've never seen the light of God's love go out in your life. I don't care where you've been along your journey. And it's a beautiful thing to behold. I look up one day, I look in the newspaper, I'm like, Save Our Sons, the new director of whatever, Kevin Perry. I'm like, this guy right here. I thought, first of all, I was really happy, but then I thought, how could you have been placed in a more perfect position for who you, and you said even your son said that.
My son said it to me. He told me, he said, Dad, you've always been a hard worker, a go-getter. He said, but aside from pastoring, this is the first time I've seen where you have an opportunity to work in your passion, in your purpose, and how.
So what is your job along with being a pastor? What's your title?
I am the community outreach manager for Save Our Sons.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I feel like one of these professional athletes that get paid for what he's passionate about. It doesn't feel like a job. I get up every morning and feel like the most blessed person on the planet. I get up, I get to put my clothes on. I get to affect change, not only in the lives of young men of color in our city, but people in our city. I get to also help shape the direction of things that happen in our city. I don't take it lightly.
And I don't think you could do this if you hadn't been a saved son.
Wow.
Like you wouldn't get it.
Right.
Like it would be a program to you.
Right.
It wouldn't be a mission or a calling because you know exactly what it feels like to need saving. You
summed it up, man. I never thought of it like that. Absolutely. And so it's every day is, we had our job fair last week, and along with planning for the job fair, I'm like, we can present jobs, but we need to remove barriers. We need to remove obstacles. And so I reached out to the UT Law Department. I reached out to the Public Defender's Office, and we did record expungements. And the Public Defender's Office sent me an email saying they saw 38 people, and they expunged 108 records. That's major.
So the people could have a future.
So the people could have a future. And now we're planning for the next job fair. And I got an email today saying that the magistrates from child support wants to sit down and talk to me. And so we want to make it where, like you say, anything is possible if you have a heart and a desire to be somebody.
Wow. So, as we wrap, let's talk about possibility.
Okay.
What have you learned about that?
I learned that determination, focus is some of the key components to making things possible. I was set up for failure. When I was born, I was in the hospital for the first 3 years of my life. I wasn't supposed to make it. I wasn't supposed to still be here. My lungs collapsed. I had so many health challenges. So much so that even in the first grade, when I passed to the second grade, my mom held me back because I was in the hospital so much. So throughout my life, I've had challenges and barriers and obstacles. And so I just find a way to get through it, but it's by the grace of God. And so that's the determining factor. Even being in the position that I'm in now, I couldn't have scripted it. It wasn't on my radar, but I believe that when we prepare ourselves, that when the opportunity arises, if you've not adequately prepared, it's too late. And so I believe that my struggles, my challenges have all positioned me to be where I am now.
So speak to that young person that may be watching this that's where you were, take about 30 seconds and speak into their life.
I want to tell you, young man, young lady, that anything is possible, that the challenges that you are facing, they can become your stepping stones for your tomorrow. That the things that you are dealing with, it is for somebody else's miracle. And if you weather the storm, if you tie your boots, lace them up tight, and prepare yourself, you can be anything that you desire to be. I want you to hang in there and know that greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
I think your life is a real model of possibility, and I think we're just starting to see the unfolding of possibility in your life.
Wow.
I know that there are brighter things and bigger things, but I also know that the people that you are serving right now will benefit greatly, not only from what you do, but who you are.
Wow.
And by the way, please cancel your subscription to GQ Magazine. Just watch this episode over and over and over again.
Don't do it.
Because he is always the cleanest man in the room. Bishop Kevin Perry, thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
God bless you.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time on Anything is Possible.